Again, today is the intro to Maine Made, and I'm really, really pleased to have Tammy Knight here. If you could go to the next slide, that would be great. For those who are not familiar with the Maine SBDC, we are a no-cost, confidential business advising across the state, actually across the country, but across the state. We advise small businesses, and of course 99% of the businesses in Maine are small. If you haven't registered with us, you are welcome to. And Stephanie, who's in the behind the scenes, will connect you with one of the 12 to 14 business advisors we have across the state. So welcome to everybody. Let's go to the next slide. So here is Tammy Knight. She is Maine Made, in my opinion. And again, thrilled to have her here. And I'll just turn it over to you, Tammy.
Anne, and thank you everybody for joining us for your lunch hour, if that's what it is when you're joining us. I just wanted to go through a little bit for those of you who don't know me and let you know that I've been working with the state of Maine for 23 years. I've been managing the Maine Made program for 13 years. I am the queen of Pinterest fails. So have no fear. There's no way I am going to go and try to do what you do day in and day out. It's not going to happen. When I'm not living vicariously through all of you, I enjoy beekeeping, gardening, cooking, reading, and my mantra is keep doing what you love and loving what you do. So let's talk a little bit about the Maine Made program. The program is part of the Maine Department of Economic and Community Development. It's been around for over 30 years, and it was formed to provide opportunities for market expansion and product awareness to the makers and artisans of Maine. So it's a very specific group of makers that we're looking at. It's not manufacturing, it's not IT, it's not service-based industries, but it's actually a consumer product that we're looking at representing. We are a community. All of the people listed on our website, there's over 750 profiles. We all work together because we realize that the success of the state depends on our economies and having healthy economies. And by everybody working together, we'll help reach the goals of the program. And those goals are exposing your product to a wider audience, leading to market expansion, which ultimately leads to more revenue, which is growth, job creation, and healthy economies. So it all just trickles down. It's like a great domino effect there, but that's what it's all about. We connect our members to buyers. We do on our website have a wholesale buyer section where buyers can register if they're interested in procuring Maine Made products. We have buyers from all over the US. Right now, I think we have 488 buyers registered on our site. And what that allows them to do when they're doing a web search for, say, candles, they can search candles, but it will only return to them the makers who do wholesale, because we realize that not everybody does wholesale. It might be a pricing structure. It might be the size of your product that doesn't lend itself to shipping. So it narrows it down for the buyer, so they're not just looking through all kinds of different profiles and not finding what they want. It also allows them to save a favorites list. So if they see something that's more of a seasonal item and they're not ready to do a buy on it, they can put it in their favorites list to refer to when they're ready. And then they also get our newsletter, which introduces new businesses and we'll talk about the newsletter in a little bit, but it does let them know who's new in the program, new profiles that they can check out for their stores. We help consumers find products. We have a directory of studios, galleries, and retail locations for the convenience of consumers and visitors to the state. And this is one of our most visited pages during July and August. Visitors are coming here to the state, and where can I find Maine Made products? So on this map, you'll notice the blue dots, and those are all maker spaces that are open to the public. It may be open by appointment. They may have different weekend hours, but it does give the profile of the business, and in the business profiles, it shows what hours they're open. The little red icons are certified Maine-made retailers. And these are stores around the state that 75% or more of their inventory is made in Maine by various makers. It's not just one maker. So think of like a Lisa Marie's and Archipelago, Vera's Iron and Vine and Wilton. They carry a number of Maine-made products in their stores, and they're not all members. So that's not a criteria that they need to be a member of the program, but just that the products are made in Maine. We actively use social media to promote our members, celebrate accomplishments, and inform consumers. During the holidays, we'll use Instagram and Facebook to call out different products. We're getting one ready right now for serving pieces for the holiday. And it'll just be a collection of different serving pieces from various makers. And we also do shout outs, like this one over here, our members are busy, busy. This was October 28th, and everybody was already shipping out Christmas presents and holiday gifts. So it was really nice to see that. And we have our monthly newsletter. And again, we have new member announcements. We put seasonal recipes in there that are sent to us by our members, particularly in the food industry. We announce new product launches. If there's any monthly events coming up specific to the month, it might be pop-ups and exhibits, holiday shows. And we also make sure to call out all our members who've received awards or national recognition, and sometimes it's international recognition. We talk about moves and expansions, who was seen in print, who was in Down East magazine, who was in Elle, and Down East Dog News, and also who's seen on the screen, because in the past 2 years, a number of local television stations are going around the state meeting with makers. Steve Minnick's Made in Maine with WMTW. WGME also does a Maine-made weekly series, and WABI does one as well. Then we have member benefits. You can use our nationally recognized logo and branding on your products. You have access to the Domestic Trade Assistance Grant, and I apologize, I should have taken that out because that program is all absorbed, all the funds have been obligated, but there are other grant programs that are out there right now. One of them through GPCOG, Greater Portland Council of Governments, is a domestic trade grant, and I can probably give you the link on that, Anne, so you can share it with the folks on the call here so that they have access. Okay, thanks. You also get a profile at mainemade.com in one of our 20 product categories. You get participation in our referral program. The referral program is we get lots of calls. I mean, lots of calls. It might be a buyer, it might be a company looking to do corporate gifts. And so we find out what their price point is. Do they want something they're going to hand out at the office? Does it need to be shipped? Do we have to worry about shipping costs? And go through all that and then make referrals for them. You also get discounted booth costs for first-time vendors at the New England Made Show. We are a sponsor of that wholesale show that takes place in March. And those who are first-time vendors at the show, we do provide some underwriting to help absorb some of those costs because it is an expensive show. But there are a lot of resources to help you get ready for it. And we hope that by us cutting off a little piece of that, it might be $200, that you might get some new line sheets printed, or you may get some photos printed for your booth, pay for lighting, what have you. You also have access to our member resource group, and that's on Facebook. So any members who have Facebook can join our Maine-made member resource group. And on that, we put show applications, workshop announcements, member-to-member communications. And this is your place where you can ask other members. Some people are looking for who's a good e-commerce provider, what's a great POS system. Do you charge sales tax at a show? You know, and it's just getting feedback from other members on how they do things. So before we get on to how to
Yeah.
join Maine, do you have any questions?
There is a question. Diana asked, how much does the membership cost?
Great question, Diana. It costs absolutely nothing. This is a program through the Department of Economic and Community Development. We did pre-COVID have a one-time $100 setup fee and decided that we would waive that fee because it's more important to us that small businesses are reinvesting in themselves. And so that is not there anymore until further notice. And I don't see that coming down the pike right off. So there are no fees for joining. The only fees that we have are if you want to purchase any of the stickers or placards that we have or any of the hang tags. We do have those. So how to join Maine. We have our website, mainemade.com, and at the top of the page, you would go to Join Maine. When you get there, this is the page that will show up. And there are 3 ways to join Maine. What you would want to do is join as a member. So you would want the details on membership. The other 2 areas are for certified retailers to join and for wholesale buyers to join. Some of our review criteria is you need to be a business. Have business cards, have a phone associated with your business, have a bank account associated with your business, have a website. We don't require you have social media, but if you do, that you're actively posting to it and it's business dedicated. You know, we love seeing pictures of puppies and babies and goats, but this is your place to promote your products. So we hope that you're using it effectively. Our other review criteria has being a business is that you've been in business at least 3 years. We found traditionally through the years that if you've been in business 3 years, you've kind of made it over that hump and you're dedicated, it's working for you, you're making profit, we hope, and that you're ready to continue on with it. And that you're a resident of Maine at least 8 months a year, because we do have people that travel and come to Maine and make something for the time that they're here, then they're gone again. So we want you to be here, a Maine-based business. You might have some wholesale accounts. You might have attended some juried shows. Any artwork that you have is original and you're not using any copyrighted materials or logos, meaning no NFL logos on your bugs or your cornhole toss games, no Disney characters on anything that you've knitted. And we just, we're not the copyright police, but we just want to protect you and make sure that it's your artwork that you've developed. And that you offer e-commerce for purchasing either via shop button on your website, having an Etsy site, or some other safe, secure way to conduct commerce. If you only sell your product at fairs and shows, it's very difficult for a consumer in Wisconsin who sees a product of yours that they like, but they're not coming to Maine, and they want your product. So being able to buy, if it's PayPal, but it's going to be something secure. We can't take phone calls with credit card numbers and the super secret code on the back. Those days have come and gone, and it's really not good business practice for you or safe for the consumer to do it that way. Again, that if you have social media, it's current and relevant, and that there's transparency. So this is something new that it's been brought to our attention by a number of consumers that they're purchasing a product that has a Maine-made label on it, but it wasn't made in Maine. For example, it could be a mug featuring an artist's work, and the mug is not made in Maine. In fact, sometimes it's not even made in the United States. And it says the country of origin on the bottom of the mug, but it has the Maine artist's print work on the front. It might be a t-shirt, and there's nobody in Maine that makes t-shirts. We all know that. So to be able to let the consumer know where the source is for the t-shirt or the hat or the beanie that has your patch that you created, or the t-shirt with your artwork, letting them know where that product originated from is really important to the consumer. If they're buying a Maine-made product, it's the credibility of our program that they're getting a product that's made in Maine. So think about what are you making? What are you adding value to? Are you making a candle because you're buying a glass jar, you're filling it with wax that you've poured, you've scented, and you've added value to that glass jar, and it's now a candle. Another area that we look at this specifically is jewelry making, and looking at what are you doing for making jewelry? Are you ordering silver and melting it down and casting different charms? Are you doing any bench work, hammering, soldering? What are you changing that silver into once you receive it? Which is different from going to a craft store and buying beads and stringing them on a cord. Any products making a medical claim need to have a disclaimer unless the products and ingredients are FDA approved. This also was brought to light for some companies that are using inert ingredients to do tick repellents. And even though they're all natural, anything that infers that the product is a tick repellent, mosquito repellent, bug repellent, needs to go through the Maine Department of Pesticides. And it's not a big deal, but it has to be on their list as an approved repellent, even though it's not got any bad chemicals in it. So that's just something to keep in mind. Or if you're making a soap and you're saying it has chamomile in it because that's going to soften your skin and help to reduce wrinkles. It's best that you have that disclaimer on your website that it hasn't been approved by FDA. And, if you're pregnant or nursing, maybe you should seek medical advice, but it's all just to cover you. Again, we're not the police on this. We just want to protect you, because sometimes consumers are out there and they're very happy to say something to do what you said it would do. So just cover yourselves. We look for high quality photography. So this is a lot about making sure that your photos are focusing on your products. It's important to stage them. I always encourage members of our program to reach out to other members and do collaborative photo shoots. That way you're sharing each other's social media. A good example of this is Luhu Dryer Balls. She makes the wool dryer balls, and she's partnered with Scout and Bean, who makes these beautiful rope baskets. So they both have great social media followings, but they're sharing each other's social media channels by doing some collaborative photography. And you don't have to hire a photographer. There's great ways to do photography with cell phones. Our review process is typically 30 to 45 days. And what happens then is we're reviewing your product, we're reviewing your website, and all the other criteria we talked about. On approval of the program, you would get a certificate showing that you're a member of the Maine Made program, and you get a profile posted on our website. We'd announce you on social media. We'd announce you in our newsletter as a new member. If you're not quite ready, it might be something like very simple, like brushing up on your website, or brushing up your photography, or disengaging from a social media account that you're not actively using, or jumping on it and start posting more often. But we have so many resources in the state of Maine. We really are truly, truly blessed to have SBDC, phone call away, call up and talk to Ann, Peter, anybody at SBDC, and say, look, we've got this person, they need some help, and then just make that referral and get the channels moving. We also have members of our program who are great mentors. And like I said, we're a community, everybody works together. So it might be somebody who did a very creative line sheet because they have multiple products, and being able to list those in a cohesive way that's easy for the buyer to look at, rather than having 1 or 2 or 3 items on a line sheet. It's really important to come across to the buyer that you have something for them without them getting lost looking for the information on the sheet. So do we have any questions?
So we have a couple that have come in. Can you be a nonprofit that that has merchandise to sell.
I would ask who's making the merchandise for that nonprofit?
That's a good question. Maybe the person who asked that question can put that in, or I'm happy if you just unmute yourself and ask the question, maybe. I don't have a name that goes with that question.
Oh, thank you. Sorry, it took me a minute. This is Susan from Maine Coast Fishermen's Association. Yeah, so we have worked with a number of Maine manufacturers to do shirts and hats and some jewelry and things. And we house all of that on our online store. And I would love to get some more visibility for it and wondered whether that might be an option for us.
And the shirts, hats, etc. are made by Maine companies?
Yep, they are. So we like partner with Maine artists and manufacturers to make them.
Well, I'm writing this down because it's a great question. We have never listed a nonprofit because it's always been the makers on our site, but that doesn't mean we couldn't help you promote that on our social media. So, and I think I have an email in queue from you.
Yeah, and I'm happy to like follow up with you and send you a link to our online store and then just see what your thoughts are and whether there is a way to have a membership or to help promote it in whatever way works.
Be happy to discuss that further.
Great, thank you so much.
Okay.
You're welcome. I have a question from Diana who says, I started my business in 2021. When does it become 3 years to apply? Can I apply in January?
You absolutely can apply in January, Diana, though 3 years is kind of a guideline for us. Every once in a while, we'll see this company that is just knocking it out of the park. And we're not waiting 3 years. We want this product up on our website. Look what it's doing. Prime example for that was Marin Skincare with their lobster glycoprotein eczema cream that they developed. It was a new product, but they had their ducks all lined up. They had their marketing, everything, and it did kind of go crazy because they sold out a number of times with their products. So it's 3 years is a guide, but it's not a steadfast rule. If that makes any sense. So I would certainly encourage you to apply.
And then I have a question from Marie who says, are visual artists eligible to apply? I do oil mixed medium paintings on canvas. The canvas is not from Maine.
No, but your artwork is from Maine. You are developing that original one-of-a-kind artwork. And I would ask, is this artwork of scenes around Maine, or is it a service that you provide to paint family portraits?
Marie, you can unmute if you want. She says, I do have prints and products with my art on it as well, but I know those won't be eligible.
Hi, can you guys hear me okay?
Sure, Marie, go ahead.
Sorry, I'm on my phone. It's so different on my phone than it is on the laptop. I'm having trouble navigating, so thank you for bearing with me. Yeah, so I do primarily wildlife, primarily Maine wildlife. Every once in a while, I will paint an animal that is not from Maine. And then on the other side of that, my commissions are primarily pet portraits from people all around. So does that answer what you asked?
It does, but also
Okay.
In looking at your cards, prints, etc., that's something we would look at because it sounds like maybe you're not having them printed in Maine.
No.
Okay, but your artwork is created and made in Maine, and you are a Maine resident, a Maine artist. So certainly would recommend that you fill out an application.
Okay, great. Awesome. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Marie.
And I have a question from Patricia who says, best organizations to start with help for textile products, SBDC, CEI. That's probably a question to me. Patricia, if you want to unmute and talk a little bit more about what you're asking, what you need.
Hi there, it's Patricia. I have an idea for some products, textile type products and, cotton products primarily. And I've been in business before. I've sold a couple of businesses, but I've never done anything like this. So I have no idea where to start.
That's a great question. And yes, SBDC, Maine SBDC, my organization, CEI, SCORE, any of those that are listed on that slide that Tammy had, we're all here to help you. With Maine SBDC, you go to our website and register. There's a button up in the right-hand corner and you just register, and Stephanie will assign you based off of your location in the state. And or you can reach out to me directly and we can chat and then we can go from there. So, I think Tammy mentioned we are very well connected. We are a community of resources. And I like to say we're at least 2 degrees of separation, not 6 degrees of separation. In Maine, it's like 2, sometimes a half a degree of separation, because someone knows someone who knows someone who can help. So you're welcome to reach out in all those, anybody that feels right to you.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Are there
Thanks, Patricia.
more questions? I know there have to be more in there because I'm looking at the list of people that are there, and I'm sure that there are. Here is our contact information, and yes, we will share the slides. We'll share the recording with you. You can reach out to either of us, both of us, whatever you need. If we don't have the answers, we'll try to find the answers for you. But let's see. What took 11 minutes to answer them? So Marie, did you have an additional question, or did you get your question answered? Who can I ask if I have a question about what to fill out and how to answer them? Oh, is that with regard to the Maine Made? I would suspect that Tammy is your go-to person for any questions you would have on that.
Absolutely, Marie. If that's your question, feel free to reach out. You can email me, you can call me at the number listed here on the screen, and I can walk you through the application.
That's great.
Okay, great. Thank you. I'm gonna screenshot that. I unmuted. I didn't know if you wanted me to ask, but I will do that. Thank you.
Yeah, that's great. That's great. There have to be more questions. Okay. Robert's asking, jeweler here. So I use raw materials from all over, but I make and cast everything myself. Is that applicable?
It certainly is. It's really hard in Maine because of where we are geographically, I might add. So for potters, for example, I'm only aware of one natural Maine clay pit, and it's my understanding that that is privately owned by the potter that is using it. And so it makes sense that potters would have to order their clay from out of state. It makes sense that jewelers, we don't have a silver mine here, and that they're ordering gemstones and silver, etc. Or somebody in the food products, if they're doing anything with spices, well, obviously we're not growing cinnamon or nutmeg fields or anything like that. So that those products have to come in to make the product is certainly understandable. We get that. I mean, we're not saying you can only make things out of pine trees and lobster shells. There's a lot more that you can be making. A lot of our woodworkers are importing exotic woods to do some very, very fancy cutting bowls and boards and furniture. We understand, Thomas Mosher, we're not going to say he can't put Maine Made on a beautiful stool he made because it's made with teak. We just don't grow teak here. Can't do it. And so we do take a look at things like that. I mean, if it's obviously, if you can't get the raw product here in Maine. We hope that you're sourcing it from the United States. But then again, there are some products that we can't even grow in the United States that have to be imported. So,
Right. And then Chris said, same with glass used in stained glass, it comes from other states. But again, it's about the transparency of sourced from, or what's the language to be using, Tammy? You know, that's probably a good
well, I mean, if you're doing stained glass, that is, you're getting the person isn't buying a piece of glass, they're buying a finished product. So that's different than somebody buying a coffee mug off your site that when they ordered it, it was a coffee mug. And when they buy it, it's a coffee mug. The only difference is your artwork's on the mug. You haven't transformed that coffee mug, so to speak, into a wine glass and made it anything different. So that's where the transparency needs to come in, that, you know, the artwork was designed in Maine, the mug comes from a company in Michigan.
Is that, if that's not clear enough, let us know. Robert came back with, do you know of issues with Maine tourmaline? Because he uses Brazilian tourmaline, but he never markets it as Maine tourmaline. Again, he's the jeweler. He's the
jeweler. Again, we're looking back at, you're not selling that tourmaline stone as a Maine made product, you're selling the finished product, whether it's a bracelet, a ring, or necklace. And you could just put, you know, gemstone sourced, ethically sourced from wherever the tourmaline is coming from, if it's coming from the Midwest. And, you know, think of coffee beans, for example. We have a number of coffee roasters on our site, but they're getting the raw bean here, which you can't do anything with a raw bean, and they're roasting it to make it drinkable. So they're adding value to that raw bean that is nothing until they do the roasting.
Right. Right.
And just call anytime. I'm like always available. I say always, 99.9% of the time. I'll answer your call and we can walk through any of these issues that you think might be coming up for you.
Yeah, I think a lot of times, sometimes it's, you know, just knowing what the process is, what, you know, what they're doing in their business, and, you know, does it fit or not fit? And you can quickly say yes, no, maybe. Right?
Exactly. And, you know, we're talking about processes. It's really good for consumers to know your processes. If you can do that in the storytelling part of your website, and just walk them through what you're doing, it's almost like them going into your sacred makerspace and seeing what you're doing. So if you have photos of you grinding or cutting or soldering or throwing mud on a wheel, it's an intimate experience for a consumer who wouldn't otherwise be able to visit you. And when they say a picture is worth 1,000 words, it's really, really true.
Yes, I agree with that. And I think sometimes, you know, doing little mini videos of the process is really helpful too. And people can, you know, learn more about exactly what it takes, because oftentimes, like, I have done bronze casting myself, and people don't know it's about a 20-step process. And they, you know, just teaching them or educating them can be really, really helpful. I have another question from Gemma, or two questions. She says, where is your physical office located, and what other organizations do you collaborate with?
Hi, Gemma. So my office is physically in Augusta at the State Office Building, the Burton Cross Building. I do have the ability to work from home. So this is why what you're seeing in the background is not my cubicle in Augusta. I am there a couple of days a week though, and anytime anybody wants to meet with me there, it's not a big deal for me to take a trip down. And the second part of the question, I'm sorry, was
what other organizations do you collaborate with?
Oh my goodness. Other than those listed, We have the Office of Business Development that is part of my department. We have Focus Maine and all the services provided by Maine Center for Entrepreneurs, whether it's in their food programs or Top Gun. We work with Gorham Savings Bank on their Launchpad program. And we have so many resources. I know I'm forgetting a whole bunch of them. And then working with Center for Maine Craft and that group there. You may think that there's a lot of overlap, but we have a lot in common, but then we have a lot of differences that complement each other's agencies. So we do work with them. The different craft Society for Southern Maine Craft, in getting all their shows posted on our website. The Designing Women in getting their events posted on our website. So we do, and we work with the Department of Tourism, Maine Office of Tourism quite a bit, because ironically, visitors looking at the Maine Office of Tourism's website from out of state directly mirror visitors looking at the Maine Made website. Almost every single month, it's the same top 10 states, except for November and December. We have a lot more people from Florida looking at our website. And I think it might be just the grandparents who are in Florida and what are we going to send the kids back home? So.
Well, we're getting a lot of thank yous, and this was super helpful, and know that glad I can reach out to you directly. Interesting, in today's Maine Biz magazine, there was a flyer in there that the University of Southern Maine had just completed with another collaborator on it, and it said that on average, the consumer would pay $22 or 22%. I have to look at that again. It was $22 more for something designated as Maine made, which I thought was really interesting.
Well, we're in the midst of doing a branding study to find out. We've asked the buyers who are registered with our website, and we've also asked the members of our website how important Maine Made is to them. Does it resonate well with buyers? And for buyers, what's it mean when a product is made in Maine? And from the consumer side, we found out that a lot of it resonates to their experience in Maine.
Right.
Maine made products are real, they're authentic, they're genuine. And when they come here, they have a real, authentic, genuine experience.
That is what Maine is all about, isn't it?
And it's interesting too, in looking, I just saw another report about the Gen X buyers and what they're looking at and how much they're willing to spend. And they are willing to spend more money on a product as long as it's meaningful to them. And by meaningful, it either reminds them of an experience or it tells a story. So think of did they meet you at a show and talk to you and learn about your history and how you created this product? And so when they take the wallet out of their back pocket and somebody says, oh, that's cool, they can talk about it.
Right.
Or when they're drinking their tea and they're in a Zoom meeting and they drink their tea and somebody says, oh, I like that mug. Can they talk about the mug? Do they know the maker? Do they know where it was made, how it was made? What the artist is like, where she's from, he's from.
Right. Well, I think we've run out. We're getting a lot of thank yous. So again, Tammy and I are here. Reach out to us anytime if you have further questions. Happy to help answer those questions, and hopefully we can do this webinar again, in 6 months or so. But it was a real pleasure having you here today. Any last minute thoughts, comments, questions from anyone? We can jump off and you guys can go have your lunch. I think we're good to go.
Great. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, everybody, for coming in. It's really nice that you participated.